Greetings, YouTube. If you've clicked on this video, then you have found a Roboclean, which isn't robotic at all, but it does have a remote for some reason. This is a very strange vacuum. Big shout out to Miss Daniele, who loaned this to me. And if you're not familiar with the channel, I'm a veteran in the vacuum industry, and I like to give a review based on a technician's point of view. And today I have a very special machine, this Roboclean, which, as you can see, with a remote. This is the first time I've seen a remote that's detachable from a vacuum. Actually, I'd take that back. There is one other vacuum, but this is the first time I've seen it. It looks like a traditional remote. I've seen like a little disc that mounts on a wand, but never a TV style remote. And I think, let's just get into the weirdness here. The remote actually is supposed to sit in the handle, and then it releases right here when you need it. So it's supposed to be everything in the handle, but rather than do the complicated wires you need to do, they just did a remote control. And this remote takes regular double AAA batteries, so that's fine. But everything on this is really quirky and weird, so this might be a longer video, so hang in there. So I think we're going to get up with this first weird thing, is that this is a door-to-door vacuum sold through, as some call it, multi-level marketing. And it's a quirky vacuum. It's got a vinyl hose that's fairly short. We have a Visselwerk EBK 340-ish nozzle. It's a ish nozzle. It doesn't have any Visselwerk markings on here, which is unusual. Usually they at least put something on there. It might be under the sticker, but that's a Visselwerk nozzle with a lifetime belt. As part of the in-the-shop review of this machine, I want to talk about the power head. I have it partially apart here just to talk about the components in it, how it's made. First off, I want to show that it has like a lifetime style geared belt, and the point of that is you don't have to change that. Occasionally it'll have to be adjusted, but that's good. The brush roller has sleeve bearings that need to be lubricated occasionally. We've seen these power heads in central vacuums, in Miele canisters, go 2, 4, sometimes 10 years and be alright without service. That being said, I would recommend every 2 to 4 years get this thing cleaned, oiled, and adjusted. Just inside this part. The brush roller right here, there's no ingest bars, which means when you need to clean the hair off this brush roller, you're not actually going to have to take it apart, which I like. You just have to go in there with a knife and cut everything up in there. So that's very nice. Now this is made out of a glass-filled resin, so this is very high quality, this power head. Now, on to the rest of the machine, because that's where it gets super weird. So if you don't want to use the on and off right here, there is a touch screen sort of thing here with menus, and you can see there's a slider. It's not super sensitive or super responsive like a lot of things. You turn the power head on and off from the body of the canister. That's a really weird feature. Now, it also has a cord rewind with a Electrolux style where you pull it just right and it will, of course I can never get them to work, and then it will retract. So let's go ahead and unplug it right there. So that's where the cord sits. It's about a 20-foot cord, so very short. Now, this is very Rainbow-esque. If you've seen a Rainbow E-Series, very similar hose. I'm not going to get into detail. We have a little cover that's going to cover your hose if you take your hose off, so your kids aren't going to stick a fork in there and electrocute themselves. So that's kind of nice. On the back of the machine, We have a blower port that you could hook your hose to if you wanted to. This hose doesn't actually hook up to this. I don't know if there's an adapter or if there's a straight suction hose that would fit in there. I couldn't find a lot online about this machine, so I'm just kind of going through with what I have on here. Now, we have the tag on here, which tells us to clean the separator. So if you're not familiar with the water vacuum, it's basically a giant bong. I hope I don't get demonetized for that one. But that's what it is. So what happens, we're going to set it on end here. What happens is this spins as it's sucking the air through. Here, goes through the water. This spins and centrifugally separates the water. Now they give you a little toothbrush wrench, again very similar to Rainbow, where you would put that on there to get your separator off. Ooh, nails on the chalkboard there. And there's your separator. You can see it's quite dirty. I'm going to actually clean this one. And then you have a spider under there. So all that is very similar to a Rainbow or something like that, or I'd say a high-low, but the high-low separator is actually like a stack of discs. So that is a little different on that. If you've ever seen a Serena, that's what this is most reminds me of. Now there is a compartment here, and that's where, that's right, this has a exhaust HEPA filter. That's how you get it out. Do this little compartment, slides in there. So that's all pretty intuitive in terms of putting everything back, finding where everything is. You have a nice thick, like polyurethane synthetic. It's not natural rubber. I like that gasket. Now here's where the weird part gets. So on the bottom of this, we have what appears to be a Rainbow basin, but not. If you were noticing, there's a hole right here. And lo and behold, we have a basin within a basin. And you can see how dirty the water is. And it's really a small basin. The Rainbow's a little bit larger, I want to say. And this is small enough that I had to stop, dump it out in my bedroom, do my living room, side office, stop, dump it out, do the hallway, kitchen, and this room, and dump it out. So kind of small. So the reason that hole's in the back is there's a water tank in here. And if we get to separate this, let's get to some of the accessories here. I'll give you space bags, and we'll talk about this. We'll talk about the rest of the accessories. Get back to that. They give you an extra HEPA filter. That's nice. Don't know what that's for. They give you a nice Visselwork style floor tool, and this one actually does have the markings on it that it is a Visselwork. They give you a switchable bare floor tool. I'm not seeing any whistle markings on this one. This is a weird one, but it feels pretty solid. Switchable tool. Then, and the power head fits in this box as well. So we have a crevice tool with a Dyson style dusting brush. A regular dusting brush, thank God. We have a strange little upholstery tool. We have an inflator. That's for like inflating mattresses and stuff. And then there's some perfume in here. Other interesting shaped bottles. I don't know if these are open. I'm not going to open these. I don't like to run perfume through a vacuum. I feel if you can smell an odor, the machine's not filtering properly. That's just my 2 cents, though, in terms of how all that works. So we are going to put all these accessories, which come in it's a really nice cardboard box. I still think a plastic or having an accessory bag, kind of like a Kirby has, would be nice. So we're going to set those aside. Now we're going to get to the other accessories, and this is where I wanted to get to. Okay, so this is in great, immaculate condition. I don't think if I got one that was like a month old, it would be in as good as condition as this one is here. So we have the shampoo and a series of hoses. And those hoses plug in to use this as a shampooer. So I'll demonstrate that in a bit. So you have an upholstery nozzle, big wide upholstery nozzle. We have a very narrow, you can see this has been used, shampooer. This is, gosh, that's really narrow. In fact, let's compare it to the power head. So it's about 2/3 the width of the power head. We have a bare floor squeegee. That's kind of a, that attaches on there somehow. There we go. Well, that's kind of cool. It's nifty. You can see that the remote will pop onto this hose. And this hose looks like it has not been used very much. But that's your shampooer. And I was hoping for a manual wish set. How to properly use your washing set. Nice big step-by-step guide there. Really strange looking with that attached. So yeah, that wand doubles up for your washing set as well, as they call it. And we have a Ziploc bag with some hoses. So some shampoo. What's interesting is that, oh, we got January 2016 is when this shampoo bottle was made. So that's about probably when this machine was made. So here we have some of the shampoo feeding features and what this is for. So the longer hose is going to go in here. So that's for your extraction nozzle. Then the shorter hose goes on. This is where things get really weird. So there's actually a pump inside the Roboclean. This thing is really heavy. Oh yeah. So now you can see where you would fill your solution tank. So really strange stuff in terms of a vacuum, especially a canister vacuum. So that kind of explains why this is so big. So I've set a Henry pneumatic 160 compact next to it. So the Henry has about 10 feet of cord on this machine and much larger capacity and a stronger motor, which we'll talk about later. But this is not a comparison between a Henry. This is just showing how tall the Roboclean is. It's not much wider, but it is quite tall. And it's tall, as I said, because there is a pump, a cord rewind, and a vacuum motor, and a bunch of electronics, presumably in there. So filling the water basin isn't particularly hard. There's plenty of room to fit it in a regular sink. And you want to fill it so the water is just to the top of the mark here in the middle. We're going to talk a little bit about storage and operation of this machine. And if you're not familiar with the water vacuum, this might be new news to you, or if you're an owner and it wasn't explained by a salesman. But this is how you would store this unit. You would never store it with water ready to go on the base. That is a no-no. What that can do is that can cause the water to go up in, rust, corrode everything inside. So instead you want to store the unit from the side, dump out the water separately. The other bit of little extra maintenance, which I threw this in the dishwasher. It didn't come particularly clean. I also scrubbed it by hand afterwards, and that was as clean as I could get this one. Usually with like a Rainbow or some of the other water vacuums, these come right clean. So the previous owner, before my friend who was a collector who loaned it to me, got this. I'm sure they picked up some harsh stuff, especially since this has a carpet washing attachment. Now if you see on here, there's a little mark here that has to be lined up here as well, just like so. Then we're going to attach this. And there's two theories of this. One is that you would take the wrench and wrench it down. I always just do hand tight. I think that's the best. The way this motor spins, it's going to continue to tighten itself, so I don't see a real reason to wrench it down. on the unit. The other thing you're going to have to do occasionally is clean off these gaskets. They get kind of dirty on any of these water vacuums. Again, this is all stuff not specific to this particular model, but it's something to know that you'll occasionally have to do all this stuff, which you wouldn't do on a backed vacuum. Test the suction of this machine, and I wanted to point out a little quirk I noticed about this machine in terms of its remote. So let's turn it on. You can see the suction is adjustable, right? If I turn the power head on, I can no longer adjust the suction, and I can no longer adjust the suction on the base of the machine when the power head is in motion. But if I want to adjust it, it'll turn the power head off. So very strange quirk of this machine. Really strange how it has these controls on here. If you're not familiar with the working vacuum gauge, I have a video explaining this and how it works. So let's just turn on the maximum suction. What do you say, 32, 30, not even 30, maybe 30? And we get about 60 seals. Again, this is all done a mile above sea level, just so you know on that. And then another quirk I noticed while I was doing this is there is a stub tube adapter you can actually change as well on this hose. So very strange, all that can be adjusted on there. Alright, pickup test time. So we have flour, cat litter, breakfast cereal, and fresh dog hair, all on my soft pile carpet, and as usual we'll be running a point of view camera as well. Well, if some of you were watching, we had some snowplow action right here. Now the carpet does look nicely groomed. There's no marks or anything, but there's no way, I guess, it was going to pick up that with the way this seals. And this doesn't have a carpet height adjustment, so that's really not surprising. Let's see how it did on the flour. That's all gone. No cat litter. A little bit of animal hair. So, not the most powerful vacuum. I wouldn't be ashamed of these results. A little bit of hair and a little bit of this. I think this would probably pick this up on the next pass. I still have a little bit of hair over here. So let's just give that a try and just see what happens there. I'm curious about that. It's got such a weird sound to it, the way it gargles. Okay, so no animal hair left behind. So you would have to probably vacuum a little slower and a little bit more thoroughly than I would normally vacuum. With the usual breakfast cereal, flour, cat litter, and animal hair with this machine. And I use the high setting here on the bare floor. And that's surprising. There is a little bit of flour left using the power head, and I did see it snowplow a small piece of breakfast cereal. So again, as we tested it with the suction gauge, not the strongest vacuum, electrical nozzle. And as we do this, you're going to see these clips that you're going to have to find some place to put, and removing the nozzle. So we've done that. Now we can put our nozzle on. So that part's a little different than a lot of vacuums out there. And switchable bare floor tool with large cutouts and a squeegee. So this should do pretty well. Unfortunately, there's no parking system on this machine for this tool. Take a look at the underside. Of course, a little hair got stuck, but you can see kind of in motion where stuff can pass through here. And these big cutouts are a really nice addition to this floor tool. I wish they had made this out of a slightly different material here. A more natural or more flexible hair or brush would make the stuff pass through a little easier and not catch as much animal hair. Or just going with the double squeegee. But these cutouts are really nice. As you can see, it picked up all the breakfast cereal one pass. Nope, no flour left. So definitely you will be switching to the bare floor tool to do the majority of your cleaning. One thing about the Roboclean I definitely have noticed while using is how short this cord is. I don't think it's even quite 20 feet. I could be wrong. But you can see full extension. I can barely do one side of my living room to the other. And I'm not even able to get really down the hallway, even if I stretch the hose out all the way. Now, on the note of the cord, I will say it has a cord rewind, which is partially why it's so short, though we've seen 40-foot cord rewinders, so I'm not sure that's really an excuse. Yep. It's not the best cord rewinder in the world either. Several minutes later. In terms of it getting under things, it does very well. This machine lies all the way flat. I'm not really too concerned about that. I will also say that that light's a nice touch on there. So the good news about this power nozzle is it gets really low. Yeah, that's how short the cord is. So this pretty much explains one of the problems with this. I think if you had a trailer home, this would be perfect for you, this cord length. But if you had a bigger home and wanted to use all the features on this, it's hindered by a short cord and short hose. It sure has been interesting using the Roboclean. It's definitely the coolest vacuum I think I've ever used in terms of its features and everything it does. And having a remote. Really like the remote. It's not useful in any way. I really like the slider as well. I can't imagine having this in your room, chug, 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 chugging, like that, purifying your air, as these are often sold to do. There's numerous companies who do this. I will say everything feels higher quality on this machine than something like a Serena, where it's just the cheapest water vac you can get. I wouldn't say this is as high quality as a Rainbow, so take or leave it with that. You know, I would definitely choose a Hyla or a Rainbow over this, but it's really cool to see a machine have all these features and try to innovate. I cannot find anything on Roboclean's US website. Is non-existent now, so I'm not sure if they're still in business or not. They do kind of that door-to-door multi-level marketing nonsense in terms of how these are sold. As far as I can gather, $1,200 is probably the cheapest you could find one of these on the market, and they might go as high as, you know, $2,000 depending on where you're getting it from. So definitely not worth either of those prices as far as I'm concerned. If you saw one of these secondhand for $100, $150, maybe even $200, hell yeah, I'd pick it up. It's a cool machine. So that's what I think in terms of its value. Now, of course, the part you all have been waiting for. The water. Everybody wants to see the water when this machine is done. So let's just take a look at the water, and why not? Let's shine a flashlight through there like a true marketer would. So you can see everything in there that picked up. So I'm sure it makes your home look like it's dirtier than it is. And that's kind of the trick with the water vacuum. And I think really in 2019, the real purpose of a water vacuum is the psychological effect that you have, just like a bagless vacuum, is seeing how dirty that water gets every time you clean. It's very satisfying. I wouldn't want to have to deal with this water every time I vacuumed. That's for sure. Thanks for watching, as always, and please subscribe, share this video if you liked it, and give it a big thumbs up. That really helps us out a lot. And hit that bell notification if you want to see more from Performance Reviews.